It has been over a year since we got new crops in Palia. We got bok choy in February of 2024, and finally in May of 2025, we got the Rockhopper pumpkins and the Batterfly beans. We're going to take a look at the data here in our spreadsheet. First off, a little bit of housekeeping. Wanted to show you some new updates. We have a revamped little redesign here. Instead of having the orange, green, and red, I thought it was going to look decent. It just kind of looked a little ugly in my opinion. So now we just have red, white, and green. Makes it a little bit easier to tell what's good and what's bad. I've updated the chart over here to say good, medium, low, like in terms of the highs. And then if it's gray, there's no data. We've also made it dark mode. So we have green and yellow instead of all the different colors and everything. A little bit of cyan for the crop. Purple over here for the variable inputs. These remain the same. You can still go through and change all of these and everything changes respectively. Charts, these are pretty much the same except we've added the beans and everything. And then down here, a little update for 5:15 when we added the pumpkins and the beans. So pretty cool. You can get to this at aqajj.net/palia-notes right here. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take a look into the actual data. I've gone through and now I've split the data or the two sheets into charts and data. So that way, if you want to see just the data, you don't have to sit here and scroll back and forth. Another one of our changes. And we've also gone through and switched over to Google Sheet tables. So a little bit cleaner, a little bit more organized, and a little nicer. All right, so let's get into the actual data here. So pumpkins and beans, they take 9 days to grow and 6 days to grow. And by the way, anything in purple is data that I just haven't personally confirmed, but there's people in the Discord that I would trust, and they've given screenshots and pictures. So that's why the information's all filled out, but it has a little bit of purple still. So thank you to everybody in the Palia Gardening Discord for helping me out with this. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Number of harvests, these are both going to be 4, and then days in between harvests is going to be 2, so pretty nice, a little bit better than spicy peppers and blueberries. Pumpkins, however, only give you 2 crops per harvest, so similar to tomatoes. Beans are going to be similar to blueberries and peppers. You're going to get 6 per harvest, so it ends up being 24. If you do the harvest boost, you end up getting 36. Now it's weird because pumpkins, you only get 2 crops, but they take 15 days to grow. So similar to the spicy peppers. Beans are actually going to be a little bit lower. It's going to be 12. So a little bit closer to tomatoes, under the spicy peppers, under the pumpkins, but you get a lot more crops. Now this is shown in the price of the actual crop. Pumpkins are going to be for 88 gold and 132 gold, whereas the beans are going to be 23 and 34. Pumpkin's going to be our typical 1-to-4 ratio for the seeds. And beans, very interestingly, were the first one ever to be a 1-to-1. So you put 1 bean in, you get 1 seed out, which this is great for the seeders, and it's going to be great for the long time players who just sit there and kind of do gardening in the background, because with pumpkins or bok choy especially, your seeder would get full really quickly within 15 hours. You'd be plowing like twice a day in order to actually go through and empty your seeders. Well, now with a 1-to-1 ratio, this is going to be able to run for 50-60 hours without you needing to go in and actually take care of it. So really nice in terms of just letting it run and earn money. Buying value, this for pumpkins, it's at 10,000 because you can't go and buy them with gold. You have to go and use the new infected essence that you get from around the Elderwood. And then beans, you can buy them from somewhere, I think, or you can just go and find them in the world. So technically, this replacement value would be free if you're going to go around and find them in the Elderwood. It's up to you. And then plant size, 2x2, so they're both going to be 4 spaces. In terms of selling seeds, this is a very interesting thing. Pumpkins, going to be 25, so of course, you get 4 of them, it's going to end up being 100, and then this one ends up being a little bit more. Beans, on the other hand, we go from 23 gold per crop to a 1-to-1 ratio to bean seeds being 90. So the bean seeds go through the roof. It's awesome. I love it. And then 135 for the quality bean. both of these are going to be around 2 hours. The beans are going to be exactly 2 hours, and then pumpkins an hour and 40 minutes. So very interesting. And you'll see that the pumpkins, you can actually do all the crafting with just 17 seeders. You need 80 seeders for the beans, which is even higher than bok choy. So pretty crazy. And then all of this data, we really only care about this column and this column, so the different profits. We'll get into that in the charts. A little bit easier to see. Preserves, kind of average for this one. You get another 100 and 151 for the pumpkins, and then beans are going to be a little bit lower here, 41 and 62, but they're going to take just a little over a half an hour to craft that. So not too bad. You only need 5 preserve jars to finish all of the pumpkin. Again, you just get so few, crops. And then beans, you need 22. This is without harvest boost. If you're doing harvest boost, you're going to get a little bit more. But now let's dive into the actual charts here. Again, we have our variables over here. Selling raw crops off, but we can turn on harvest boost. And we've got it set at 81, 30, and 1,000. This is what the numbers that everybody else uses typically for the max theoretical stuff. That's what we'll use for right now. You'll see that on the gold per tile profit. So this is the theoretical max, or it's going to be the top on this charts over on the right side. That bok choy used to be our king at 6,534. It is now bean, who is our top king. It's going to be 7,973. So I believe that's like a 22% increase when I did my math. Pretty awesome. So you're making a ton of money per tile if you're looking to just, kind of do some slow money making. So really good beans. Let's turn on the sell raw crops. Pumpkins, on the other hand, are really not that great. And I really wish I could recommend it, but you have to go through and do a bunch of story to actually, I think, get the pumpkins, and you can actually go through all the Elderwood stuff and catch things and do everything. Whereas bok choy, you can just buy it from the general store, I'm pretty sure. And so selling bok choy just by itself without doing any processing is better than the max you'd ever get out of pumpkins. So it's really hard. Maybe there's going to be a really good pumpkin food recipe in the future, but as of right now, it's pumpkins are just not very good across the board. When you get down to the real time, the gold per hour, bok choy, let's turn off sell raw crops. Bok choy, just a little bit better than the beans, but the bean preserves are looking to be really good. They're the new top dog over here. So 3,247, pretty good. If you're looking to just make as much money as possible, the bok choy comes back up on top because of the high crop value. So the high crop value for bok choy makes it really, really unique. But if you're interested in doing more money per tile, maybe a little bit slower, smoother, back behind the scenes money making, more passive money making, then beans are going to be the way to go. And again, pumpkins is just, you have to do a lot of work to even get the pumpkins, and they're not very good. Whereas beans, you can literally just walk into the Elderwood, and I believe anybody can walk into the Elderwood, and you could just go find the beans under a tree and get started and start making a ton of money. So it's pretty interesting how that all rolled around. We've got everything. Let's turn off the sell raw crops. We've got our charts over here. We'll just go through it really quickly. The bottom is the gold per hour, and the top is the gold per tile. So it gives you the minimum and maximum that you would make based on your setup. And you'll see that the pumpkins down here, the best pumpkins can do is below potatoes, which is the worst. It's below the worst that potatoes will ever do. So again, pumpkin's not really good. This one shows it even better over here. The canned pumpkins, worst out of all the preserves. So a little disappointing for the pumpkins. I'm not sure if anybody's ever going to use them, but we'll see. We've changed up the garden layout sheet now. We have a 55 bok choy layout. There is actually someone from the Discord, Gino, who made a 56 bok choy layout, so pretty cool. I'm gonna see if I can get that in here and make sure they're okay with me sharing it. I don't know, I don't think they would be, but yeah, they have a 56 bok choy layout, which is pretty sweet. But this is our 55 bok choy layout, and then we have a new bean layout here. So it's in the shape of like a kind of a windmill. Get these little, like, you know, spikes coming off, and then it actually has 64 tiles of beans. So we had to do this like double crop buff to get as many bok choys in here as possible with keeping everything harvest boosted. Here, each rice is doing like the double work, right? So each 2 rice harvest does 2 plants. So you're getting like a 1-to-1 ratio or something on the rice. So you're basically getting like max efficiency out of these. We only have 17, which is pretty sweet. And then we have a whole bunch of beans. So we have 16 different beans for 64 tiles. So you're getting more gold per tile, and you're getting more tiles of beans. So this thing's pretty sweet if you're looking to make a ton of money. So I definitely like this little windmill layout. But yeah, pretty cool. You can go through here and mess around with this. You can make it like, you know, 25 crafters or 20 crafters, and then if you change the number of plants as well, it changes, completely variable based on your situation. And it's nice. So I hope you guys are able to find this video helpful and find the spreadsheet useful. If you're interested in getting to it, it's going to be the first link below the share button. It's going to be aqajj.net/palia-notes, and you can go ahead and take a look at this. And then also there is going to be a video explainer on there going over all of the different details for the formulas. So if you love math and you want to kind of go to school for like 20 minutes, there's a video on there going into deep dive into all of the different formulas and how we achieve everything. So it's pretty good. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in Palia. Take care.